Thanks for joining us here at Rose Quartz Mediumship Podcast. We are here today with a special guest, Raj, who we adore in so many ways. And one of the things that we really love about Raj is his authenticity and his ability to kind of stand in his uniqueness and his authenticity and to lead life from that place. We've got multiple pieces of his sound healing equipment, and I will tell you there's a huge difference when I use those pieces of those tools versus somebody else's. And so one thing I will say is when you are buying a piece of sound healing equipment, being really clear on the artist who created it makes a huge difference. And Raj is phenomenal, so if you have an opportunity to check him out and his pieces of art and healing equipment, I would highly encourage you to do that. So Raj, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, the two companies that you run, and then we'd love to hear how you found your path and ways that might support other people in finding their own life purpose or path in this human experience.
Yeah. Thank you, Erin, again. We're here a second time on this podcast. Last time we talked about meditation and all of those, but basically it's all gonna tied up and connected together. So we'll switch to meditation and again to life purpose path as well. But coming to me, my name is Raj. I run two companies. One is non-profit, one is for profit as well. So it's more like a left hand and right hand. One is kind of giving and one is like kind of receiving, you know. So non-profit, its name is Gurukula Foundation. Gurukul itself is more like ancient styles of schooling system in India, Nepal, that part of the world, more over to learn life purpose, right? Or more to orient oneself towards your own path, basically. So they used to learn different skills as well, but more than that is spiritual awareness as well, how to outgrow your human hunger or animal hunger to become human and then to become deva or gods, right? So that was those kind of schooling systems. So I'm trying to establish more of that to make people aware of their hunger, but outgrowing that hunger and becoming human and becoming deva and godly in themselves through meditation, sound therapies, and different other things. I've been teaching in different communities. Actually, I just did last week in one of the school here in they call it South Raleigh Magnet High School in front of high schoolers. It was my first time. It was amazing, you know, and so trying to build up some communities and let them know like how you can grow yourself, grow not only physically or not only in a knowledgeable way, but you grow in whole totality as an understanding of yourself, right? You understand yourself first and you start to understand the others around you as well, because you are connected in a way. We can talk this later. That's Gurukula Foundation, and I run also the Swayambhu. The Swayambhu is one of the profit-oriented business I run by selling sound healing tools. I also make backpacks made out of hemp. So I work with the different groups in Nepal. Some I do make myself as well in Nepal. I do have a small workshop in Nepal. So helping community back in Nepal too, and that is feeding me as well, and I'm feeding back to them too, kind of cycle, and I love it, you know, which connects me back to Nepal too. And sometimes I feel like, hey, this is the perfect life, you know. If somebody comes to me and asks if do you want to be somebody else, I'm like, I'm living my life, you know. So
what a beautiful thing.
That's perfect for me. So yeah, and that's me. And for the life purpose, basically, everybody has their own different approach to see, but since I'm in the meditation field, I definitely encourage people to find their own essence, right? Instead of following somebody else's path. I mean, you can follow somebody else's path, but if you are following, you have to follow every little steps, right? And which is not yours. That means you have to be really, really careful. And you can there can be a lot of accidents too, because you don't know what other people which you are following is doing, right? Like in the whole sense, totality, because he might or she might be doing what he or her existence told them to do, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you not know the totality, so you will miss many of those aspects. So not to miss any of those aspects, you have to look inside yourself, because that's the same essence you do have. Maybe you are a rose flower, I am a dandelion, right? Like maybe somebody else is like a lotus flower, right? So we do have our own essence and like the way to express ourselves. And the meditation space, going inward, helps you to go from dirt to become a lotus flower in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I think it is such an important part that you see so many people will follow. And when you really learn to listen to what is coming from within you, magic happens.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that. I love your awareness of that piece around, if you're following somebody, you may not be seeing all the steps to their process.
Right.
And so it's almost impossible for you to follow them. Plus, you have your own unique energetic signature.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. I love your analogy with the different flowers. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And so, like coming to the fingerprints, right? Everybody has their own unique fingerprint. So that means like you have your own uniqueness too in your soul level, right? In spirit level. But the soul and spirit, we can talk in different other podcasts maybe, but everybody has their own flavor.
Yes.
Right? That's why we exist. Otherwise, like there's no necessity for you to exist. If you are existing, that means like there is something in you which demands, the universe is demanding for you to exist. So meditation space is more like a finding that path. You know, it is not magical in a way. Like, I mean, it can be magical too. Like if you know, like how to, because meditation itself, I see it as a path to infinity. You know, you can step down wherever you want to step down, or wherever you want to reach. That is more like a path. You can go forever, and mostly in Eastern philosophies. Infinity is associated with God too, because you cannot capture the wholeness of the God in one book or one sense. So whatever the expression is happening around you, that's all, everything is godly in nature. There's no need for like God to exist as a creator or destroyer as well. So there are a lot of philosophies can intertwine, but yeah, finding your own path is going inside yourself, shake some of the things that might be like heavy, you know, because of that happens to every people, right? Like we observe energies, and our mind is always observing things and like projecting ourselves out there as well, out of that the observation or perception, and then you get intertwined and you get lost into the worldly realm. So again, finding life purpose or path is going inside, meditation, releasing everything, and then finding your own essence, maybe finding your own flavor too, right?
Yeah.
So in tantric culture, there is one way you can also like smell yourself, right? Like your flavor, you start to realize like you have your own unique flavor.
Yeah.
You know? And looking at the mirror too, you know, it is not like just watching like you regularly watch, you know, but simply just observing like what is there, you know, and you start to realize there's another being of image that is like moving with you. So what's going on? What is this thing happening in front of me? So what is this thing going on around me? So you start to realize that moment, in that precise present moment, you start to realize this whole existence is like beyond anybody's imagination, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
that is where the magic is. And then that's more like exploration. Now you start to realize, okay, there are infinite possibilities. So you choose your path.
I love that. I love that. Such medicine for the world right there. So you talked about how we are observing life, right? And essentially absorbing other people's thought patterns, opinions, other energy as we're moving through our human experience. And in meditation, we can shed that or release that energy.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about what that releasing is for people who might struggle with that? Because I'm sure a lot of people heard the piece around there's infinite paths and you get to pick one.
Right.
Right? And so I'm sure everybody's like, yes, how do I get there?
There are like a lot of methods, like every methods you see in the marketplace, any kind of meditation, let's say Kundalini meditation or this and that, everything is more designed to uplift you, right? And but we get stuck with the path again, right? The purpose of the path is like to walk on it, and then you don't hold on to that path for forever. You can use it, right? You can use it, but just like a boat. Maybe we talked this before as well, but it's like a raft. So if you are crossing a river, then you use a boat, and once you cross the river, then you have to let go of the boat. Otherwise, like if you hang on to the boat, the purpose you are not fulfilling. You have to cross the river, right? So we have to let go of the methods itself, right? First thing to realize is this is the method which is taking me to the other side. The main goal is to go to the other side, not to stuck with the method, right? So but people get attached with the method itself, right?
Yes.
And it becomes miserable again because you are holding it, because that thing becomes your kind of savior, and you don't want to let go now. You want the pleasures of lives too, and you don't want to get you don't want to get rid of the pleasure at the same time, but the pain and pleasure are the same thing.
Yes.
If you want the pleasure, you should not avoid the pain too, because it's a two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And if you want, you need to be very gentle for the pain as well, because that's the part of you. Meditation is about going inside and seeing the pain too, like why it's giving me the pain, why this reaction is happening to me, right? So all of that. And coming to your how to again is basically observing yourself, observing your thought pattern, observing the people around you, right? How you react, bringing your energy to yourself, not letting your thought go away. It's more like a practice, yes, but you become aware of your own thought pattern. And if there's a lot of things happening, then once you realize it, you can shake off your body too, like shaking off. That means like you are releasing some of the energy observed, not in a mystical way, but you feel some tension in your body. Like if you are, let's say, like if you are fearful, you become tight. That's the energy you are observing, But another way, it's more like that's how the body works too. That's more like scientific approach, like body. But you can shake that off too, release it, loosen up a little bit, like this. Breathe in, breathe out, and it kind of relaxes you a little bit, muscles. Now you are aware, okay, that happened to me, right? And then slowly the gradual process is becoming aware of your heart, your mind, your thought pattern. When you sit and doing the meditation, you become aware of like what's going on, right? Like, but the mind goes away. That's fine. Don't try to pull the mind there are like certain meditation styles that you can do it does have some benefits as well, but if you want to find your own purpose or path, you have to release everything. Releasing means like taking it easy. When you are at ease, then you start to realize the pattern, you become the observant. You don't react with it. When you react with it, like you are already like modeling up yourself into that reaction, right? So you don't get the clear picture. So you have to be like very still, silent, and observe, and then you start to realize the pattern emerging, how you react with others, how the world is reacting with each other, and where you stand in the middle of the whole chaos or middle of the whole harmony, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, such wisdom in everything that you just said right there. I want to go back to the piece where you were talking about the method to get across the river, right? And it's such a beautiful analogy, because sometimes you see us as humans get so attached to the boat that we use to get from this side of the shore to that side, and then we're carrying a boat with us and we're not even in water, right? And it's exhausting to carry this boat.
Yes.
And so that analogy, I think, is just such a beautiful one, that whatever the method is that you use to get across the river doesn't mean that you need to be attached to it for forever. Such a beautiful, beautiful message.
Right. And to add on that, one should be always aware of their death. Death is a release, If not there's not a lot of release happening in your life. You have to remind yourself you are going to die. You are going to die. That's a life as well. It's a life and death. It's a circle. So we are here forever, in that sense. Because maybe we have already talked about this as well, but in science as well, they are saying energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. That means like we are also the part of this energy. So whatever you think is going to destroy is like just this form. You are shifting to another stuff, right? So you will be here forever. So death, you won't be in this form for forever. Even right now, your body is changing. Cells are dying, cells are creating, a lot of things are happening, but you are not aware of that, right? So again, bringing your mind to the death is more like a release. I have to die, so why not come to this space and try to enjoy at least. At least try to enjoy this moment, because after all, I'm going to die, so why is there such a burden? I'm holding it, right? And meditating on death, it gives you some release.
Such medicine in that statement. Certainly in U.S. culture, there is, in my opinion, this doesn't have to be true for anybody else, but culturally I think that there's an avoidance of death.
Right.
And in a lot of other cultures, it's something that's almost celebrated. It's honored in a very, very different way than here in the U.S. It's almost like we want to push the thought pattern, the energy of death away from us.
Right.
And in so many other cultures, there's an allowing, an embracing, a bringing in, a receptive energy there. And in that, there's so much medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's so much medicine.
One of the things is like, when doing the meditation, you have to observe, the nature itself, like how it's working. It's more like a science, right? In science, they experiment things, and if it's repeated that same result, then they validate it. Okay, this is how it happens, right? Like it's the same thing. It's not any mystical thing you are doing. It's more like you are observing your thought patterns, going inside. You are observing what's going on around you, and you start to realize some patterns emerging, like from everything you do, or like how even the society operates, exists, and how individuals react with each other. You start to see those patterns, and it is repeating over and over and again, and then you start to realize, okay, this validates a lot of the things that ancient seers or sages that are Buddha he was telling, and now I can realize that thing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the same kind of pattern, right?
Yeah.
So that's more like a science too, you know?
Yeah.
And definitely death is part of the life. You cannot, that's why I am saying, I was telling is, you want the pleasure of life.
You have to be able to hold
and you
the
want
pain.
the pain away, right? But you are trapped into this window of pleasure and pain, or the box of the pleasure and the pain. But pleasure and pain are same thing. And when you view, for me, death is a pleasure. Like I say it from my heart. It gives me a release. And physical death is just the dying of this organism, you know? And I'll be here forever. So why I worry, you know, for like being like in a pain, like death and all of that. Like it's part of the nature. How this nature operates is this. So you cannot escape. So what is the fact is the fact. And when you start to deny the fact, then you are being ignorant at the same time. And ignorance brings the pain.
Yes.
And pain brings down to your earthly realm or the worldly realm. And when you interact with people, you muddle up, because like everybody holds some pain, you know, and you are reacting with each other in the pain ocean of pain. And then there's the manifestation of that whole pain is war.
Yes.
Right? We fight with each other.
Yeah.
We fight with like individual beings, and in a bigger scale we fight with countries.
Yes.
Or maybe some groups, or racial division, like that comes about, because that's the group pain come together. There's another group, there's the pain, it's coming up together. So it has to fight, you know. Because pain needs some release, so it's struggling to release, and they don't know how to release it. Then that's fight, because it has to go out, right?
Yes.
And in an individual level, you are fighting, and in a group level, country level, you are fighting still. That's the same mentality, in a micro scale and in a macro scale.
It's such a beautiful way to look at the human experience. And for me, very much aligned. It's very much my truth also. And you say it in a slightly different way than I would say it, but the energy is the same. And for me, it is really fun to feel the difference in the way that you express something and how it opens something different inside of me. Yeah, I love it.
Interesting.
I love it.
Yeah, everybody has. That's why, like, we're looking from different angles, you know.
Yes.
And there will be never a total picture, but on your own experience, you can get that total picture of or your own experience of that totality, you know. And whenever I explain things differently, but you can connect with it because you have experienced that thing from different angle.
From a different angle, yeah.
You can connect it. Oh, wow, yeah, I was experiencing that in a different way. But now, like, that's why we share, right?
Yes.
And we grow. When we share, we grow. We become, from a river, we become a pond. Pond becomes lake. Lake become ocean. You know, we are growing forever. And when you are ocean, then you become godly. Because you can encompass like whales, like fish, or every kind of being in you, you know. And and when you become violent, then you can crush everything away, wash everything away. And when you're at peace, you can like observe everything and very settle.
Yeah, it's what's coming up for me right now as you're talking about the analogy of the ocean, is that statement around with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
Right? And that piece that you were just talking about, I had such a visual of like, if you're angry and you're the ocean, think of what you could destroy.
Right.
And so if you want to be the energy or the essence of an ocean, you must understand the depth of what you're holding.
Right. Yeah.
That personal responsibility.
Absolutely. And A few of the ways in East how they explained, mostly in Hindu concept, goddess Kali. She is like very fierce, and chopping off the head, and very wild in nature, right? There are some pictures as well. But yeah, what they are trying to say is like nature is wild and raw, and the power is, she is seen as a sheer power.
Yeah.
There's Shiva and Shakti. That's more from the Shaivic culture or Shakti culture. I can explain this sometime later, but that's more one of the sect of Hinduism, and they see female as a power. It's a power, so it's very raw in nature. It can destroy everything. That's that power, and when she becomes very settled, she becomes Durga, means she is a blessing to everyone. And when she becomes angry, she's a rat. She becomes Kali, so destroys everything. Although everything is her child, she has to destroy, because there's so much of nonsense happening. So there's a destruction now, and when there's destruction, everything comes together and settles down. Now new life emerges out of it, and she becomes Durga. She blesses everything like her own child.
How beautiful.
Yeah, she becomes a death, she becomes life too.
So delicious. So delicious.
Yeah.
So I know that there might be some people, if they're listening to this, that struggle with the concept of embracing or loving death. So could you give a tip or two to somebody who feels really resistant to death, and how they might find a place of peace and then maybe enjoy the energy around death?
Sure. One of the way you can do is watch yourself, observe yourself in a mirror, right? Every day when you watch yourself in the mirror, you start to realize like a lot of things are changing in your space as well. Maybe like some wrinkles start to appear. So you start to realize a lot of things are shifting, right? So, and even when you meditate, just watch the thought and watch your emotions as well. So when you watch your emotions, sometimes you become really angry, and you start to realize the anger goes away, right? And then you start to feel happy, all of a sudden. And so your emotions are always moving as well. So you are not holding on one emotion or two emotions or any of those emotions. You are being observant. You are being observant to your physical appearance as well, or physical appearance of the worldly being as well. And you are being observant of your mind too. What's shifting. So when you start to realize everything is shifting and not permanent structure, then you become a little bit at peace. You start to realize that when everything shifts, so why am I holding on to this thing in one ideology or one thing, right? And even read different philosophies as well. Don't stick with one. Read maybe Christianity, right? Read maybe Islam. Read maybe Hinduism, and there are so many sects of Hinduism as well. Even inside Hinduism, there are a lot of struggle, like power struggle as well. Who is supreme and who is not, and this and that. It will always happen, right? But we are more interested in the core essence of what the teaching is. We are not interested in like this body. Right? In this podcast, you are not interested in this body. You are interested in this, whatever there is, the essence. That is what is interesting in itself, right? So be aware of the different ideologies, how we view things.
Yeah.
Right? And like we talked previously, we are viewing from different angles, right? And be aware of like each other's experience.
Yeah.
There's one philosophy called Anekantavad that comes from Jain culture. So that's one of the religion in India as well, and some in Nepal too. They say like everybody has their own experience, right? And there is not total truth. and nobody has total truth in their hand or in their mind. So everybody is living the partial truth, but in the totality of their own experience. That's how they are living. So it's okay. Whatever is going on, it's okay. And you start to realize again, like everything is calming down because you are respecting what other people are saying too, and what is coming from your mouth too. You start to realize different patterns. Be open to different views.
Yes.
Be open, right? And sometimes it's difficult to be open, but that's where the meditation comes again. You have to do that, otherwise you are doing same things over and over and over again and not getting anywhere. So that becomes again the trap, right?
Yes.
So you have to do it. You have to break out of your shell yourself. Nobody can help you in that. Maybe I can guide you in certain to certain steps or certain height, but from that you have to jump yourself, right? Like I do have a kid, and when I teach him, I cannot like always grab him and teach to crawl or like jump. I can help him to go to a certain height. Maybe like a couple of times I show him how to jump too, right? But if I do it over and over and again, and maybe he will think that me only is his crutch kind of. So he always find me, right? So I have to let that go and let him jump too, right? So that's your own path, because you have to jump yourself, right? Take a lot of views, go to certain steps, and let's see, take a risk. You have to die one day, so why you are being so comfortable? Take some risk, jump, let's see, right? After all, like what's gonna happen, right? After all,
yeah, maybe you fall, maybe you bang your face or your arm or your shoulder or your knee or something, and then you get up, and the next time you understand more about the jump.
Absolutely.
And the next time your jump is going to be different.
Calculated, more calculated, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's where you find your life path. You have to jump now, and don't hesitate to jump. That's fine. Everybody has to jump. And that's where the thrill is too, When
it is jump, where the thrill is.
That's where the thrill is. You're like, wow, what's going on?
What's going to happen?
Yeah, sometimes you get scared, and you start to realize, okay, that's fine. Everybody gets scared. So that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Everybody gets scared, right? That's how our body is built up, our mind is built up. But once you grow out of that, then when you jump, then you start to realize, okay, wow, I did that. So maybe next time I can do a higher jump.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I do some other different things. That's exploration. Now you are open to infinite possibilities. And that's where you will find your life path. Not as a goal or a destination, but you start to see the pattern, and you start to realize that you can dance with that pattern.
Yeah.
When you dance with that pattern, that is the present moment. You are not attached with a goal now. You dance with that pattern, and on every little dance, you are dancing with the life too. So that becomes your life path. It is not a life path that is you are pursuing, but that is the life path itself. Whatever you do, that is the life path.
That's it.
That's it.
You're on it.
That's it. You are on
You did it, baby.
You are on it, yes.
Such wisdom and such medicine in the things that you've said today. And I so appreciate you sharing your medicine with us and with the world. And earlier I was talking about how the bowls and the pieces of equipment, we have some bells. We just purchased a horn, which I am so excited about, and another leather strap with bells that I'm really excited to do.
I named it Kundalini bells.
Kundalini bells. Oh, they're delicious. There's a very different outcome that I get when I'm working with clients when I use the pieces of art that came from you. And hopefully it's not lost on people listening to you that wisdom is in your art. It's in your bowls. It's in your bells. And so when they're purchasing, they're not just purchasing the piece of equipment, the piece of art.
Right.
They're purchasing all of the delicious wisdom, and as they work with that tool, as they work with the piece of art, that wisdom will integrate more and more and more into their essence, into their being, and they will understand it more deeply.
Right. Yeah. Basically, same principle, right? If you are looking at an apple, it's how you decide it as an apple is it's red. The shape is familiar like an apple that you, and that's more like a first experience. And then you start to go deeper. If you go as a scientist, then atoms, certain chemicals, they bind it together like this, and it becomes apple, right? And then if you go more deeper in quantum mechanics or like quantum science, they call it now, I think, quantum physics, they see like that the every particle is vibrating in itself, right? So it's more like a path to infinity. How deeper you dig in with even one tool, you don't even need a tool if you want to really dig in, right? So but tool itself help you, like there's a tangible piece, so let me dig in this thing, right? And you dig in, so you start to realize everything is connected in a way. And like apple becomes like atoms, and then becomes like vibrating particles in there, and then becomes other things, and you go deeper and you expand. There's so much knowledge in just one thing,
Yeah. Oh, I love it. We so appreciate the way that you move through the world and the impact that you have, that ripple effect that you have on the world. There's such medicine in it. And I really appreciate you taking your time to connect with us today and to share your wisdom with us.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely, Erin. I'm absolutely glad and happy to be on your podcast. Such a pleasure, and you are such a wonderful interviewer as well. And you're so gentle. I really appreciate that too. And thank you.
Thank you.